What's up everyone, my name is
Mark Martinez
and welcome to the YouTube channel Pop Punk Present and Past. Today we have one of my absolute favorite videos to make, my albums of the year list. If you want to go look at previous lists, card, description, these are obviously my opinions. I'm not right, you're not right, I'm not wrong, you're not wrong. With that said, feel free to trash me in the comments. Secondly, I try to consume as much music as possible. Once again, if I literally just completely missed something, you think something was off my radar but was fire, put that down below. Or you can always check out my social media links. We got the Instagram, Twitter, Instagram. Without further ado, let's get into the video. My name is Mark Anthony and these are my top 25 albums of 2018.
Take me away from me, everybody's so fake, everybody's so fake.
So I hope they get their cheddar raised. I'm just praying for better days. They hit the
I'll be there in the morning. I'll be there before you know it.
Just hit me up when you're feeling alright.
No, you're wrong, but show you right.
There's a lot of records that not only demand your attention, but are almost taxing of it. You kind of need a break after listening to certain records. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but this record really should be celebrated for how easy it is to listen to. The beats throughout are just so smooth. This record just flows so well. I honestly can sit down, turn this record on, and before realizing it, I'll have listened to it entirely through.
I sympathize and I recognize.
Troye Sivan only came up on my radar as of last year when I heard the Brockhampton song Jesus, where Kevin Abstract discusses himself being similar to Troye Sivan, a gay pop star. And when this album came out, I received it very well. This record sounds lush, and he really makes it his own. Some of the themes he discusses here are pretty specific to the gay community, but I think that's good. Like, it doesn't have to be relatable to me, and I think this is probably one of the best pop records of the year. This record I actually reviewed on my channel, you know what to do. And in my review, I generally did like the record, but I think one of the things that I pointed out was that was a huge flaw, was that I couldn't see myself listening to a lot of these songs just by themselves in a playlist. And I think I kind of proved myself wrong, because there's quite a few songs on here that I'm pretty much letting them play and singing along just about every time. It's not as good as Chemical Miracle, but I think there's a pretty good outing for them. At number 22, we have everybody's favorite image file type, PNG, raw, TIFF.
I need all my bitches same color as Drake. If they not, then they getting rocked. Put that Pyrex in the.
If you haven't jumped on the JPEG Mafia train, go check this record out. If you don't like it, listen to it again. If you don't like it, listen to it again. Listen to it again. Do you like it now? Yeah, same. This is definitely the type of record that, without having previous exposure to this artist, will punch you in the mouth. Pick your side, it'll do either one. Some of the sounds he uses, there's nothing that's just phoned in. Everything wants to have your attention. Don't miss this one this year. Coming in at number 21. Oh God, I can't believe I'm gonna say this.
Don't talk to strangers. Since a youngin' I've been told them bangers. I might take that little bitch to Topanga.
If you would have told me a Trippie Redd album was gonna be on my albums of the year list, I might have fought you. But at the end of the day, it's on this list because it's an enjoyable outing. Before this release, I thought he was one of the most lackluster performers in the rap game. I thought he had potential, but I just thought everything he was executing was garbaggio. But this record, this is catchy. This is an enjoyable record, even if I don't want to enjoy it. I think this is the earliest album on this list. Yeah, I think so. Jeff continues to do a lot of the things that he's been doing phenomenally with his music. I've always liked his instrumentation and like how much depth there is, but without having this crystal clear, squeaky clean production. He really makes it work. He has this kind of semi-lo-fi sound, and it still sounds nice and cohesive and not just like noise being thrown at you. In 2018, the band that got its name from Regular Show definitely put out their best release to date. I was actually fortunate enough to see them perform quite a few songs off this record, seeing the passion in the vocalist, feeling the hard-hitting instrumentals, seeing how it gets a crowd going. Definitely feels like an absolute outpouring of emotion. This is a really good pop punk hardcore record. I would suggest at least giving this a chance, especially for my fans of heavier music.
If you know, you know. I only ever looked up to Sosa. You all get a bird. This nigga. Oh.
Kanye West's production on this record is a masterclass. There's like 7 tracks. Pusha T does not stop. I wouldn't know how Kanye's production would fit an artist like Pusha, but oh my goodness. The rapping is so confident, has this swagger to it. Honestly, I think 7 songs is perfect for this record because it never gets boring. You can run that shit back. Female-led Australian pop punkers coming in at the 17th spot. I'm surprised too. I first discovered this band in September. I thoroughly enjoyed their live show. They were energetic, they were excited, their melodies were catchy, all the great things you love about pop punk. So when I listened to their record, I had expectations for it, but I didn't have these types of expectations. Probably my biggest surprise of the year. I think Bonnie does an incredible job here. She absolutely takes control, demands your attention. At number 16, we have
That's Nike boys hopping our coast. This shit way too big. When we pull up, give me the loot.
It's Astroworld. We've all fucking... I think Travis Scott puts it best when he says, who put this shit together? I'm the glue. Because he really does see himself as a curator in his albums. He enjoys that artistic process of bringing in others and trying to piece together exactly how they will contribute to this overall idea.
Give me reasons we should be complete.
Breaking into the top 15, we have YouTube memer George Miller, aka Joji. There's almost something that feels luxurious about this album. Even some of the rougher moments with distortion. This record always feels well intentioned. I'm not saying every song on here is absolutely my favorite, but these star moments are really absolutely shining moments of the genre and of 2018. At number 14, we have
Whip with the wings like Batman. Roll around on Manhattan. Back team. Fuck, I don't even know what happened.
I'm young and I'm like skinny and I'm Will Smith's my dad, but I don't give a fuck. I'd say over the last year or so, I've become a pretty big fan of Jaden Smith. He's gradually been getting more and more artistic, more and more refined with what he wants to hear in his own music. I know Jaden sees this kind of split personality. One side of him is this very cocky, fashion, Balenciaga wearing, go yard bag having, and then like there's this other side of him that's like much more refined, mature, and wants to be past all those like things, and it kind of brings it out at different parts in different songs. And I think this dichotomy within his music, now that it's something I understand, is something I really appreciate.
I've seen better days, turning look the other way, but with you,
This is probably my least favorite State Champs record. That's saying something because like their previous work has been phenomenal pop punk. This definitely took a little bit poppier of a turn. I think they lost some of the punk in them. The riffs are still there, the hooks are still there. I wish there was still like some more fast songs, some more in-your-face tracks. I found myself listening to it a lot, even if people were hating on it. Gary, what do you think? Tell the mic. Really? Me too.
why you wanna act like this? Rollie on my wrist, so she wanna have kids. Cups on my wrist, so
Amine, Amine. I don't know. Some of the things he does rhythmically here give me tastes of Playboi Carti with his voice, with the beat, and how he interacts. He has this sense of like cockiness with his rapping. This is definitely my favorite release by, I don't fucking know his name. Just missing out on the top 10 we have.
I forgot to fake the way that I was feeling.
If you asked me 12 months ago, who the hell Anna Birch is, I would have probably repeated those exact words to you. Who the hell Anna Birch is? Who the hell is Anna Birch? And I still don't know much about her, but I do know that this release is beautiful. Her vocals are produced to perfection. I could listen to her talk probably literally forever. This album sounds so pretty. I picture like some beautiful pink, very, very, very soft blue and white, like a gradient. Like picture that as a gradient. That's what this record sounds like. We're into the top 10, boy. Number 10, we have the prettiest man in hip hop.
You losing the mind, we kissed the Frank Ocean and blind, convincing my bitch to go blonde. Was born in the dark, I can't give you open my blind.
When I first heard ASAP Forever, I knew this upcoming record by ASAP Rocky really had a chance to be special. We kissed to Frank Ocean and blonde, convincing my bitch to go blonde. Fuck off. And then when this record actually dropped, it did not disappoint at all. From literally like probably 30 seconds into Distorted Records, just hearing that bass sound, these sick features, these cool instrumental parts. He has all these things that add to the overall musicality. That there's a lot more here than just ASAP Rocky rapping.
Super Saiyan, nah. Can bring out the hair like a Super Saiyan, y'all. You the man, nah. Fucking looking better than a Buddha man.
The aesthetic this record creates is so cool. From like the very dark, almost goth cover to all the song names being in like capital letters and numbers and weird, to the fact that it's kind of split into these three parts of light, gray, dark, and now turn that with the fact that Denzel just fucking goes off the whole time, and the aggression and the grit I think contribute to the fact that nothing feels wasted. Like, pay attention to me, I'm telling you what's good. At number 8,
Hazy, lazy, burning through my tree.
this record is definitely a stepping stone in the story so far as discography. We're going away from like this very angry Parker fucking hates that bitch. It's good to see them maturing and growing past this, discussing some other things that are going on with their lives, with like addiction, trying to mend past relationships. It makes sense that the instrumentals would follow that same path, be a little bit more intricate with it. The story so far continues to produce. At number 7, we have I've never liked a 1975 record as much as I like this one. This record just immediately hit the nail for me. Everything it's doing feels rad as fuck. It's got like the Britpop sound down. I think the overall concept of the record is super cool, kind of this look into modernity. Some of the electronic moments, jazz moments on this with horns that I'm in love with. I'm still getting a lot of enjoyment out of it. I kind of split records up into tiers, and starting at number 6, this is where we get to the top tier of music.
I wanna hear one song without thinking of you.
So this one is technically an EP. It's 6 songs by boiiiii. If you've never heard of them, they didn't exist until like a couple months ago. Members of boiiiii are Phoebe Bridgers, who released a top 5 album last year, Julian Baker, who also released a very good album last year, and Lucy Dacus. To put this in perspective, I don't know, this is like Kanye West and Kid Cudi making a record and it being, oh wait, that happened. It was the shit. This is the shit too. If you're ever feeling sad and want to cry into your pillow, you might want to listen to this. Breaking into the top 5, we got
Tweaking out that 2CB, huh? This is why your bitches fuck with me, huh? Smash.
Who would have known that Kanye going crazy and running off to Wyoming would just absolutely shake the music scene in 2018? When I first listened to it, I loved it. I was the one trying to almost convince some of my friends to like this record more. The eeriness in the first track, Today I Thought About Killing You, literally yell that in my car all the time. It's really striking, honestly. For more than half of that song, it's pretty much just a bass line and vocals. And that starts the idea of minimalism on this record. Kanye feels like a person on this record. I had always thought that while Kanye was an incredible musician, Kanye was never personable. Even when he said something a little bit more deep, it was never about him and his internal affairs and who he was. In this record, I feel like at least somewhat lifted the veil. There's some things where he talks about his relationship with Kim, with his daughters, with the media, with the public. We got feels from Kanye, which I think is my favorite thing about this record.
Trading a new state, put around us for a Cuban link. So my ancestors could see me shine and tell me what
In comparison to the Saturation trilogy, right around as good as one in a different way. Like one has bangers, but like this record's like refined and like nice. Right from the get-go in New Orleans, they are punching you in the mouth, telling you we're still here. Dom really shines on this record. He's generally thought of as being the best rapper in the group. He definitely takes hold of that role. Personally, I think Matt Champion kind of drops the ball on this record, but where he drops the ball, Joba picks it up and picks up some extra balls too, just to make sure. Like, I understand a lot of people freak out about like the really angry parts, but just in general, Joba just made such great use of his time on this album, and that's something you have to do being in a group like this. A lot of these tracks grew on me. A lot of these tracks I didn't really fuck with first listen, but this is still like an incredible release that I found myself listening to a ton. Coming in at number 3, shout out Mello.
Woke up with my toolie, what they do? Meet me in the alley with the troops.
Playboi Carti's Die Lit is one of the best albums of the year. I'm not the type of person that is often lost for words. Sometimes I do struggle in explaining to people why I love Playboi Carti as much as I do. I think the main place where people make a mistake with Carti is through his lyricism. Firstly, they assume that someone needs to be a great rapper to make great rap music, which is nowhere close to accurate. In addition to that, they assume that when someone is to refine their music, what they will be refining will be their lyricism. That's not true for Playboi Carti. His music isn't further up on this list than others because of his lyricism. His music is above others because of everything else he does. The instrumentals, the ad-libs, the rhythmicality of his voice, the dynamics of his voice. When the overall experience is so grand and so delivering on its promises, how can you look at one little part and nitpick and point and say that's wrong when everything else is so right? And that is Playboi Carti's Die Lit. Honestly, I have no idea how to choose between the top two. They're pretty much tied for one, but I feel like I have to pick one as being one. I almost feel bad having to choose. But
Mama mixed the vodka with the Sprite. They killed my cousin with their pocket knife while my uncle on the phone. He was gone for more than half my life. He got out of
this is absolutely the best record of the year that you have not listened to. There's a lot of people who I've brought this record up to. What's that? If you need to stop this video and go check out this record and then come back, fuck it. Everyone who I've discussed this record with who has listened to it loves it. Chicago rapper, very aware of everything that's going around him. Along with that, he wastes no verse. Everything means something. Also, his flow and rhythmically, he absolutely stands out. He's super playful with the way he's delivering things, hard-hitting songs, jazzier feeling tracks. This isn't a hip-hop record where he got some instrumentals and he's just rapping over them. The instrumentation is just as much of a part of this record as his vocals, as his lyrics. I don't know how you can listen to this record and not madly love it. And finally, number 1.
See go sometimes, kiss see go sometimes, kiss see go sometimes, spirit.
What more can I say? This record is lush, it's round, it's so intricate. I feel like I discover new sounds buried between the mix on like every listen. A song will come on shuffle and of course I'll listen to it because every song on here is magnificent. It'll make me turn the record on. Kid Cudi's performance throughout the album is, I think, is like a complete fulfillment of his abilities. He went 18-0 on this record. The Kanye West, like, they fucking knew what they were doing when they went in a Murakami studio. It's not a mistake at all. They knew they were putting out like a magnificent record. I don't know when I'll stop listening to it, and the record just doesn't feel real sometimes. It's that good. Well, that was my top 25. If you just so happen to make a top albums list, go ahead and drop that down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please drop a thumbs up. If this is your first time on my channel, also consider subscribing. Dope. Follow me on social media, links down below. Thank you guys so much for another wonderful year on this channel. Make sure to check out all these records, especially ones you've never heard of. Everyone have a wonderful and safe holiday season. And remember, as always, to do fun things and to stay beautiful.
Say you wish your chest. Say you wish your chest. Pray you work again.